This is Ohio, everybody's favorite place. Me and my family have been here since '07, and we have got to succeed. Can we farm and go above and beyond, or will we end up like these guys? Find out in today's video. Today we have got a spectacular one for you. We are going to have some double crop soybeans going on with the Case IH MX180, and then we recently just got done with wheat harvest a few days ago. We are going to clean off the head. We're disconnecting the good old Case IH 2388, and then we're going to go ahead and head to a cornfield and get some cornfield in, as well as stopping by the local dealership and seeing if we can get any deals. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so as you can see, we've got our honeybee head disconnected. It is on the header trailer. We're gonna go ahead, back this up, and go over to our other barn where we currently have our corn head. It is ripe in the morning. It's 8 a.m., but things have got to get done today, so going ahead and hooking up the corn head and taking the auger wagon over and maybe a grain truck or two to get ahead everything would be perfect. Now that the case is fired up and ready to go, we got the header set up, ready, and all we have to do now is simply just get in and hook this bad boy up, and then bring the auger wagon over here along with the grain truck, and then we will be ready to go once it dries out. Alright, so we got the header hooked up, and now we're just going to go back over to the farm and bring a few pieces of equipment over and then proceed with our day. Alright, so we have everything set up for preparation for the corn harvest across the road. We are going to head back, see if, the ground is actually ready to go. That might be something we put off until the next day, so we can just go ahead and get all of our time and energy focused into this corn harvest if it's completely ready. And then after that, we will go ahead and run over to the store just down to our north and see if there's any equipment that we could possibly pick up. Alright, we're just now pulling back into the farm. We ran some errands, grabbed some breakfast, and now we're going to check the ground out here, and then if it's ready, we might get one of the brothers or something on it, and if not, we're going to go ahead and head up to the cornfield, get that out of the way, and then I think we are going to take this old chisel plow that we don't need anymore and try to trade it in for a couple $100 and maybe even get an extra piece of equipment. So after doing some consulting with the brothers and some of the cousins that are involved in the farm operation, we're going to get one of them to go ahead and plant this because it is indeed ready and it needs to get done. We're actually running about a half month behind on this. We got the weed out a lot later than we thought we would. So now we are just going to have him plant this, and we'll come back later or come back midday and check in, see how that operation's going. But until then, we are going to hop back up in the truck and get started on our corn. So the combine's up and going, everything read good on the monitor. We're going to go ahead and cut us out some inrows and just go ahead and cut an outline so we can get fully into this thing. Alright, so the combine's full, so we went and grabbed the auger wagon. We're going to go ahead and unload so we can keep on pounding through this field. Alright, so he's unloaded, so we're just going to back it up a little bit and park right here for now. And then once he is full again, we will let him unload again. Alright, so we're unloading the grain cart, and the combine's going over there, so it should actually probably be full again shortly. But we're going to try to wrap this up a little faster because it is getting a little later in the day, and I know that the guy's shop only stays open till around 6. So we're going to try to get over there and look at some equipment and see if we can't buy something after we finish this field off. And just like that, we are finished with this cornfield. We're going to go ahead and get this 2388 unloaded. I know we have a little bit of that back truck back there to go. I think it's about 98% full. So we'll try to unload the rest into that. The 1206 is on a gravity wagon that's full, and then the front truck is probably, I don't know, it's not very full, but we'll go unload those, get everything set up for the evening just in the field here. We'll take it all back tomorrow, but we still have to run down to the local store to see if there's anything we possibly would want, and then we'll get right into it. Alright, so we got everything brought over here, everything's shut down. Combine is going to be good. We're going to take the head off tomorrow, probably go pick up the bean header, and move everything just back to the farm. We threw the tarps over the semis so we can leave those for tonight, and we'll take care of all that in the morning. The only thing is we probably will have to take that 1206 gravity wagon in because there is no tarp for it. But now we are fully set to go ahead and head down to the store. Okay, so we have arrived at the lot. Starting us off, looks like they got an 1150 Massey Ferguson. That'd be good for some hay. They got this sweet 9370 Case IH quad track. I'd actually like to get up in that and see if they could let me demo it, or maybe if one day it'll be useful on the farm. We've got an old, it looks like old silage chopper, 5830. It's pretty nice. They've got a disc. Auger. Looks like we got a couple of planters. Looks like we got a Kinsey 6-row, another John Deere 6-row. Some fertilizer application, the Blue Jet, John Deere 7810. Oh, there's a sweet MX 180. Another Kinsey, kind of like ours we got at the farm already. It just doesn't have the full seed capacity that ours does, but that would be something I'd like to look in to get into, is having a second planter to run. The real reason we came down here today is to look at this Harvest Commander Kinsey 850. The auger wagon on our farm has been doing okay. I'd like to just get a little more holding capacity on it, and then eventually I'd actually like to move on and get a couple semis rather than just have the attached grain trucks that we have right now. But the guy actually priced this for about $34,000. We talked it over on the phone for a little bit in there, and then I think we settled on a price. So we'll have to come pick this up. He did take part of the price down because we were going to trade in the old J&M auger wagon, and then once we get that all set up, it'll be on here for sale too. And he said there was a few other things that I wanted, so he'll keep us up to date, and then we will go from there. Welcome back, guys. It is currently about 10:20 a.m. in the morning. We are on the Ohio map, and today we actually got a call from a local farmer about something that you really don't want to see and you really don't want to deal with. He got really caught up with corn and bean harvest, and they kind of had some things go wrong and forgot they had an entire corn plot basically to get out for their cattle, but it is already very, very dried. So there's one of the cornfields we just got out about 15-16 days ago. Probably need to go up and get some stalks out of it, but we're gonna keep letting her roll. You know, we've been starting to no-till everything, but we still disc up some stuff here and there to basically see what that overall process can help on our farm. Alright, so here we are pulling up to the entrance to the farm. It is pretty neat. Kind of takes you through a little bit of a backwood area, but basically the farmer said that he did leave a couple of extra wagons for us in the back. He said once we get the 3 filled, if we wanted to harvest any of the extra corn that was left over, that we were allowed to do so for helping him out, since they are still trying to wrap up some later bean harvest. Alright, so we have arrived. It looks like he has set us out 2 New Holland wagons. He already has it hooked up to the John Deere 5830. So we're just going to go ahead and get right into this thing and just see what we can do for him, even though this is incredibly too far along for what you would want for actual forage. Okay, so we're up in the machine. We have the gas line pushed in, ready to go. We're going to run it in 2nd gear. I know we can run it in 3rd, but we're going to run it in 2nd. To our right here, that's how we engage our head. To the left, that is forward, neutral, and reverse for the feed. So if we get something clogged up or stuck, we can pull that all the way back and reverse it, and then forward is to engage. We have our old school hydrostat here that does have up and down head on the back, and then the other buttons are for the spout back here to control that. So we're going to go ahead and fire her up and see what she sounds like. Okay, so now that we've got her fired up, we are going to go ahead, we're going to lower the head. We engaged the machine, and we should be able to get right into it. So we're going to go ahead and take a couple passes off and then see where we end up after that. She seems to be cutting pretty good. We are running her a little fast. I know we usually run her about 4 miles an hour, or at least that's what the farmer told me. But we've kicked it into a little bit of high gear. We did have a call about some rain possibly moving in, so we really just want to fill these 3 as fast as possible and get that to the farmer so he can go ahead and implement that into his farm. Okay guys, so we have already filled our first wagon. We have disengaged the head, and we are ready to unhook this wagon and to go back up and hook up to another wagon so we can try to beat this rain. Okay, so we just got disconnected from the 2nd wagon, and we are moving along pretty well, actually. I'm pretty happy with how this is going so far. I think what we're going to try to shoot for is go ahead and finish this up. We are actually going to go deliver these to the farmer. He had a few things come up, but we're going to go take these 3 over there, and then after that we're going to run the combine over here and maybe a grain truck or 2 and start shelling a little bit, hopefully, if the rain can stay off. And not really going to bring the new auger wagon over here. Wish we could use it, but since the granary is just up behind us, we will just straight haul it to that, so we don't have to worry about anything else. Okay, so we're finishing up the last few rows here. We went ahead and just started cutting out some in rows so that we don't have to worry about doing that with the combine. So we've got it full here. We're going to go ahead and go up there and unhook this, deliver this to the farmer, and then after that we'll go ahead and bring everything over and get ready to shell the rest of this field. Alright, so everything is done here on the silage side. Like I said, it's an unfortunate thing to see. You never want to get into silage this late. It's not my business. I don't, really have all the details on what happened. But It is hybridized for that silage cutting. You can still harvest it regular, but the type he planted was made for silage. So we went ahead and did what he requested, and we have to be forever grateful for it, because he did indeed give us the rest of the field to go ahead and shell. So we're going to do an extra favor for him. We're going to shell it, and he doesn't know. We're going to give all that grain to him and just show a little appreciation within the farming community. Okay, so about an hour has passed. We delivered everything, got the chopper back, got everything returned to his farm, and he was pretty thrilled to seeing how fast we got that out. But now that we are back at the farm, unfortunately we did already put everything up from that corn harvest, but we will go ahead and pull this out, go grab the corn head, and then we will go right over there. Okay, so the head's hooked up. We got everything pretty much ready to roll. We might bring another grain truck over here. Like I said, the grain elevator's just over there, so there's not really a huge need to bring everything over here. The auger wagon would have been a little unnecessary, unless this is really good yielding corn, which by the looks of it from the silage it was. The only thing that's a little bittersweet about this is the last field for us for the year. After that, we will have to go through and clean everything / winterize everything. So that's not something to look forward to, but it is nice to have some more cab time in our last field. Okay, so we're going ahead. We're jumping right into this. Cutting great. Had the deck plates open just a little bit too wide, but thus then we've closed them, and really just this is some uneven ground having to watch the snouts. But other than that, this is cutting great. It's looking really good for the yield. So I think at the end of the day, giving all this to the farmer and donating it to him and just really lightening his load is just the best possible outcome for this. Okay, so we just got done with the first load. We're gonna keep going and see how much of this we can get done. We're just gonna truck this all over there, and when we get everything at the elevator, we're gonna go ahead and get all the information we need and run it by the farmer so he can get all of the gains off of this crop. So while I was over at the grain elevator running moistures, I totally forgot to return this international piece of tillage equipment. So we went ahead and we're gonna go over here and drop this off, and then head back with our moisture sample. It read fine. It was super dry. It was running about 15%. So we're still good to go. We're gonna finish up that field. This is one less thing we really got to do now, because we wanted to return this and it was kind of low on the list of things to do. So we'll go ahead and get this returned. We'll get a couple $100 out of it, hopefully, and then we will head back and finish up that cornfield. We went ahead and hooked up to the header trailer. We got one of the cousins going over here harvesting right now, and when he's ready to unload, we'll switch him out so he can get back to whatever he was doing, and then we will wrap this field up. So that'll do it for this field. We'll go ahead and disengage the head. We'll put the auger out and go ahead and unload into this truck over here, and then we'll hook up, like I said, get the money over to the farmer, surprise him with that, and then we will winterize everything from there. The head is now unhooked from the combine, and it is looking like we are pretty much ready to rock and roll. And yeah, so just super excited to see where this goes, and we will meet back when we are at the shop. Okay, you guys would not believe it. We actually got a few $1,000s off of that field for that farmer, and he was ecstatic. He said that he was going to use it for he's going to put the money toward a couple of hog barns, and he just, I mean, his mind was blown. He couldn't help but thank us for doing him such a big favor, and he said that anytime we needed help, just to let him know. So we'll be over there asking him stories, and we'll just be learning from him because he has a lot to offer. Okay, with everything left, we already went ahead and pressure washed a few of the vehicles. We got to get the corn head and then the combine, obviously, but mostly everything else is washed and ready to be put up for the winter months. So we're just getting all the dirt and grime off. We just want to make sure that A, we keep the shop clean, and B, it doesn't cause any problems for next season. Okay, so we have the head all washed. It's parked in the shed, actually. So now all we have to do is get up in the 2388, and we still got to winterize a few things, but after that we will pretty much be done. Maybe some cover crops here and there, but until then it will just be until next season. Okay, so now all of our equipment is parked up in here and ready to go. So until then, we'll just be doing piddling here and there, seeing what we can do. We still hope to maybe upgrade some equipment. We do have some outstanding contracts and hope to gain a little profit off those, so maybe we can trade some stuff around and expand the farm. Today we will be doing some various different things, including some tillage on the cornfield we just got done, and then we will be spraying some soybeans that just got planted. So we will jump right into it. Okay, so a couple of the new things that have been added since the last episode is, like y'all saw, we did pick up the new Kinsey grain cart. We purchased a brand new semi in a hopper bottom so that we can pick up a few more fields and add some more grain. And then our final pickup was this beautiful 6000 series sprayer. We don't have a whole lot of land to spray, so there was no need to get anything too big or too expensive. This one was in a super good price, so we decided to purchase that. And then at the end of the season, once grain gets hauled off, we're going to be trying to purchase a new combine. Ideally, we would like to keep this combine, well, the series that is, and keep the 2388, but we'd like a little bit of a hopper extension, maybe some duals, and a little more power to go into it. But with that being said, we will go ahead and jump right into spraying this field. Okay, so we have everything calibrated on the sprayer. We got out and made sure that the nozzles are working, everything's fitted just right. So other than that, I'm pretty sure we are good to go ahead and just jump in, spraying the soybean field so we can get all these various weeds out of the mix. So a quick little tidbit about what we mixed up in the tank. We did put some glyphosate in there. These are Roundup Ready soybeans, so the glyphosate is not going to hurt them, and this has seemed to prove to be probably the best option for us. So we're going to keep putting glyphosate on these every year that we can, because we've seen good return out of it. The yields are bumping up, and we're not having near the obnoxious weeds come in that we usually do. So as we're hitting our last pass here, we are just simply going to overlap it a little bit, and then we're going to hit the road, and then we will drive right back into the farm and move on to some other tasks that are really needing to get done. So as we're going down the road, one of the things that everybody had a complaint with was the wings sticking so far out the back, as it makes it hard to store, takes up more space. But luckily we do have a lot of extra space since we did purchase some of an old farmer's couple of his old barns, so we've got places to put things. It is just kind of frustrating that they did design it like that. So we're gonna park it over here, leave it out, and then we're gonna get one of the tractors hooked up to the tillage tool, and then we're gonna go try to put some more beans in the ground as well. Okay, we just hopped down from the sprayer, and we're gonna go over here and get into one of the tractors. We're gonna go hook up to the disc and lug it over to the field, as well as take this planter over here and let one of the cousins or whoever wants to hop on it, maybe even us if they want to go disc it, and then we'll plant some beans while they're rolling on the disc. Okay, so we're in the 8910. We just got to back it up, make sure that we don't hit anything, and take it out right straight ahead, and then we will get this Case IH disc hooked up to the back of it. Alright, so we got out and got the pin through, so that is ready to go head down the road. We got to make sure that we have enough seed in the planter. I don't actually think it's been filled up. If it needs new seed, we'll have to go get some of that, but if it's not, we'll be ready to set and just go plant. Okay, so we're pulling up to the field here. We have arrived, so we're just gonna kind of slowly go through this ditch. It's not too big, and then we're gonna get over here and go ahead and start disking some of this up so we can really get the planter and the disc running at the same time. I think I'm actually gonna run the planter, and then after that we'll probably head back to the shop, maybe go take another look at, see what they got down at the auction place, and then we will wrap it up from there. Okay, so the cousin pulled up. We're gonna get him in here. We decided we're actually just gonna do 3 or 4 passes down the middle here, because we did run quite a bit of equipment when we were harvesting through here, as you can tell. So he's gonna go all the way up and down a couple of times, and we are gonna go take the truck back and grab the planter and head back over this way. So I wish it were easy enough as to take this tractor and get it around this combine, but it looks as if we're gonna have to move this 2388, and then we should be able to go ahead and make our checks and then get after it. Alright, so the combine's good and moved, and I went over various things in between that, checked everything. So it looks like it is going to be good to go. So we'll just go ahead now and run over to that field and start planting. Alright, so we're in here fired up, hydraulic lines and everything were okay. We actually do have plenty of seed, so we're going to go ahead and shut the door and get on the road. Alright, so we just pulled in. He looks like he's still getting along pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and start over here, and then we will kind of outline our field, and then we will get fully into that as well. Alright, so we've done a couple of rounds. We've got everything dialed in pretty much. We've done most of our in-rows. We've checked seed depth. Everything seems to be going right in the ground, really easy. So what we plan on doing here is I am going to have somebody come down, and I think I'm just going to swap places with the other tractor, but I'm going to have them start planting because I have some other things that I need to really get done around on the farm today. So we're going to go down there, finish up disking here and there on places that were too compacted and eroded, and then after that we will, I guess, see how far they've come along, see how they're making progress, and if we have any breakdowns or anything that we have to adjust things on. So we've got the planter going off in the distance, as you can see. Now we're going to hop down in here, hit where we went over this with the combine and the auger wagon quite a bit as we were making rounds down this way, and then that should pretty much wrap that part of it up. Alright, so we've finished what we've wanted to, so we're folding up the disc, getting that all ready to go. Once that finishes folding, we are going to go ahead and go right back to the farm and move on to something else. As we're pulling up to the farm hill, real quick, I just got a phone call from the dealership we've been working with for quite some time, buying a lot of stuff, servicing a lot of our equipment, and he actually said they had a brand new 2388 come in, well, new to them, not a whole lot of hours on it, duals, bigger holding capacity, bigger auger. So we're just gonna go check it out and see if it is even worth taking an interest into, and if it is, maybe we can work out a deal. As we're heading down the road, one thing I totally forgot to mention the other day is after we did purchase some new equipment, we also decided to pick up a couple of fields. The prices came up and it just seemed right. It was closer to home and we were able to make a deal out, so we have picked up a few fields now, so we'll actually be able to get some more acres in. As we're looking to the left, it seems as he is getting along pretty well. Haven't been too worried about it. He hadn't called me or anything, said there's any problems, so far that is really good that is going well. But as we get down here, we will be able to take a closer look at the combine. Alright, so we just got done talking to the salesman here. He said it doesn't have a whole lot of hours on it. It does have the larger grain take. It's got a longer auger, and then it does have duals, and it is in a lot nicer condition than what ours is. So we're gonna go back to the shop, make some really nice business decisions, see if we can move some equipment around. And I'd hate to see this one go, because this is what we've been looking for. We were originally gonna add 2 combines, but might as well go a little more expensive and get something that I already know is going to work well, and have the ability to, even get more acres in with it. So I've arrived back to the shop, and after going over a lot of paperwork and a few hard decisions and some phone calls, we've made the choice that I think it's time to let this 2388 go. I mean, it's served us really well for quite a few years, but the upgrade is definitely worth the move in the long run, especially as we're picking up more acres. We've had some problems here and there. We've had sensors go out, just, stuff getting clogged up and breaking. So I think we are going to take this down there, get that combine, return, and then I think that'll be about all we have planned for today. So as bittersweet that it may seem to have our equipment sitting here that we've used for years and years, some of our pieces have ended up here, but overall it's very humbling to be able to move up and keep advancing. And as sad as it is to go, we are now the proud owner of this newer to us 2388 auger spout, more holding capacity, duals, bigger, better, not as many miles on it in hours. And then also, we had the honeybee head for quite some time, had a lot of belt issues, so we finally decided to bring the header cart down here and traded that in on a new MacDon head. So this fits perfectly on that. We've tested it already, hooking it up and everything. Everything seems to work fine. If there's any problems, we can get the MacDon guy out here. But with further ado, we are going to hook this up, haul this back, and then hopefully the planter is wrapping up, if not done, and then we can get them back at the farm as well and call it a day. So yeah, we would have brought the truck down here, but there actually is a hitch pin on the back of this combine, so we can pull the header cart if need be down the road and not make as many trips. So that's going well. It seems as if they've wrapped up. I'm pretty sure they are behind there checking on some things, but they're pretty much wrapped up and should be back at the farm a little after us pulling in. So other than that, we'll go ahead and head back to the farm, get this dropped off, put in the shed, and see where we can go from there. Everyone has made it back to the farm. We hooked up the bean head, pulled it in the shop. We're going to look over some things, make sure everything's working once again as they seemed like they worked when we hooked it up the first time. And then we got a lot of cleanup to do around here. We have quite the mess going on the farm. So we'll have a little cleanup after we check a few things, and then we will be going home for the day. So I do have to say, with the new combine, the bin extension, I mean, we knew it was going to be pretty tall, but I mean, we probably have half a foot getting in this front door. So we'll just have to be a little careful. I mean, it's not going to hit, but yeah, so it's just a lot going on. I think next, we're going to put the sprayer up, and then we have to move the bean and the corn head around. They're kind of just sporadically laying around, so we might go take them over here in front of the silos. I don't know yet. I've kind of thought about just putting them over here. We don't have any really great place to store them inside. I guess we could, but with the trouble of backing them up and everything, it's just easier, and they're not getting that much weathering, so we'll probably just put them over there by the silos, and then once we get that, the planter will be last. I'm debating whether or not to spray this off. We might have a few other places to spot some beans in, so I don't know that it's worth spraying yet, but it's definitely a thought. Okay, so now that we have the corn and bean header over there, we've decided to make the decision to not wash the planter off. We're thinking there might be a couple places we're supposed to get a rain or two a few days from now, so we're thinking that we're probably going to have to scotch some beans in, so we're actually just going to move this right up in here, try to keep some of that mud out of the main shop, and then we should be good from there. Alright, so we have the planter backed up, everything else is put away and looking good, so I don't think there's a whole lot more for us to do. We have some paperwork to run here and there, a few errands, and then some contracts to check, but until that one, we will see you guys in the next one. So a little over a year's passed. Our soybeans just got ready, so we're about to head out here. It's still really early. We're going to cut some in-rows off just so things can dry out a little bit more throughout the day, and then we'll jump full in to that soybean harvest. We have 2 fields ready actually, and then we're just going to hit it as hard as possible and try to get it done so we can get our money. As you can see, we are $49,000 in debt. We ran into some problems with the bank, and the goal is to try to make that all back and gain more so we can pay off some of the loans we have. Unfortunately, racked up a good amount of those, buying new equipment and some land and some other things. So we're going to go ahead and get this combine loaded up with some oil, and then we're going to go out here, put the head on, and get into the field. So some of you are probably wondering why the auger is out and various things. So basically, over the winter months, we had some mice get in here and pretty much ate all of the light wires. So we had to install all new, brand new lights from H&R AgriPower. It's a Case IH dealer nearby. We had to install every single light because I guess the mice thought the wire was peanut butter and just ate right through it. So that's what we've been doing. That's part of the problem we've had too, is mice have been running stuff causing a lot of electrical damage. So we're going to have to look into that. Pest control moving forward, but other than that, we got everything replaced and we should be ready to go ahead and jump into this field. So we've got the head completely put on, and the next thing to do is just go ahead, fire this thing up, and start cutting. So as you all can recall, last time on this series, we had just bought the brand new combine. We had picked up the brand new MacDon header, what was new to us, and then we also picked up a brand new auger wagon. So you'll see that out shortly, and so far this combine's working great. We have a lot more storage up in the bin with the XL extend bin we have on this. The duals and the engine upgrade is giving it a little more power. So overall, we are so far really pleased with how this is going. So we just hopped out of the 2388. We don't have a whole lot of grain up in the tank, but we're going to go ahead and put it in the auger wagon. We're going to go grab that so it has some time to sit out in the sun and dry while we wait for the beans to dry down. They're not running too bad right now. The moisture's a little high, but overall, we're going to wait a few more hours and then we're going to fully get into that soybean field. So with the grain cart we just got, it is actually 850 bushels, so that's quite the upgrade what we had. I can't exactly remember our bushel amount with that old J&M, but so far this is going to be a big upgrade, and it's going to help us move through pretty quickly and keep trucks rolling in fields. So there it is unloading, working perfectly. Really like this setup too. It looks clean, it works. We don't have a lot of problems when it gets underweight, and overall I think this is just, like I said earlier, it's going to help us move along really well and keep things flowing at a steady pace. So we just got out of the MX-180. We pulled over here in the sun to let those beans dry down a little bit. Like I said, it's not a lot. It's only a couple bushel, but we want to get those dry, so when we do run this to the elevator, we are not seeing a moisture dockage, but by the time we mix the rest of these beans in when they get dry, it's not going to matter as much. So we are going to let these sit for a little bit, turn everything off, go get some breakfast, run some errands, pay some bills, and then we will come back and get into this field. So we just got back from breakfast, everything was good. Ran a little late doing some errands, but the beans have fully dried down now. We've got everything turned back on, and we are just 100% ready to fully get back in to this harvest and wrap this field up. So of course, right as we were just getting going, as you can see, there is a lot of rocks in this field. The combine decided to eat quite a few of them, broke the knives all up on the MacDon header, shot it through the combine, tore up a bunch of the teeth on the inside, went through the rotor, and then completely threw the clean grain auger out of its weld and off to the side. So this is just a complete disaster. It's a total loss. This is going to put us behind miles and miles unless I can figure something out. And as of right now, the Case IH guy is going to come out here, and we're going to meet with him, and he's going to look it over. So the Case IH guy just got here. He is around back looking at some things. I did make some quick phone calls. He's going to be here for quite some time, but I made some phone calls, and the neighbor is actually going to bring over their New Holland combine so we can keep rolling. They actually just finished their beans, so we got lucky, and in the nick of time we'll be able to keep on rolling with our harvest. So while we're waiting for the combine, we did get that moved over there. He's going to work on it a little bit actually under the shop. We moved the auger wagon out of the way so when the New Holland pulls up, it's got room to put its head on and then keep rolling, and then we have our truck off to the side getting ready for that as well. Okay, so we got the New Holland CR 9070 here with us. He went over it with me, showed me how to run it and everything. I will say it's a lot different than what we used. It's a big upgrade. Not the newest combine ever. It's still got some years on it as well, but for us, this is going to be a little bit different even with the task we have given. Being in this is a lot different. We're still pretty mad right now from what happened, but we're going to try to make the most of it. We get a chance to drive something we don't every day, and that's pretty good. He's got a little better technology with more, new rock traps and things, so hopefully his equipment won't suffer any of that damage either. So far this thing cuts a lot differently, but it is powering through everything we're throwing at it, even with the field conditions that we have here today. So that being said, that's super good. We're about done with this part of the field, then we'll move to the back and finish that up. But overall, this is going along pretty smooth. Finishing up our last strip, and then we're going to go over here to the grain cart and unload, and then we will give them a call, let them pick up their New Holland, and see if we can work it out where our next bean field should be ready in 3 to 4 days if we can't just borrow it again, because it's highly unlikely. We got a call from the Case guy up here, and it said it's highly unlikely it'll be ready by the end of this season because there is a lot of major breakage. So we're going to go ahead and try to figure something out, but first we got to get this unloaded. Now that we're completely done with this field, like I said, we're going to take off the bean head, get this folded up, and then put this over in the corner and give them a call so they can pick it up. The New Holland is parked and it's ready to hit the road, so the only thing left to do is pretty much grab this auger wagon, unload, and then I think we'll be pretty much done for the day. because we have had a very eventful day and it's very overwhelming and stressful. The semi is now fully loaded. It wasn't great bushel, but nobody got hurt today. Everything overall has been pretty frustrating, so we're going to call it a day today because we got a field done, and that's about as much as we can ask for, because usually people around here don't have their combines open for just anybody to drive. But once again, super big thanks to the neighbors for letting us borrow that, and hopefully they will be okay with us be able to borrow that, or maybe H&R can loan us one. But that's going to do it for today. So the bank called, and we're losing the farm. I know this comes as to a shock, as seeing we have probably over $1 million in loans, and we're out $215,000 on maintenance and service. So let's go ahead and enjoy this last harvest. As if anything couldn't get as worse, we never got the funds to fix the combine. And I guess that means that we'll have to go through and either borrow another one with the money we don't have, or we'll just abandon the farm. I made some tough phone calls, and the guys down at the dealership were gracious enough to let us lend one of their combines since we've been such big customers over the years. We've paid everything off from them, but they're going to let us use one of their brand new John Deeres with the bean header to get this field out, and then we will just be wrapping it up. We got the green light to take this S790, and we got about a 35-foot soybean head over there behind it. So we're going to go ahead and hook the soybean head up, load it on the trailer. Super grateful that they let us have such a nice machine for what will be our last field ever. It's really hard to say, but you know, that's our own actions, and this is just what happens when you're not attentive. So we're going to go ahead and get this loaded up and head to the field. It's very unfortunate that this is the way we're having to go out, but at least it's with nice equipment. We have great memories, and we'll get to harvest that one last field. Luckily, we did do some digging around, and it seems with all of the contracts we had to fill and the grain we've stored and even a lot of stock investments, it seems as if we'll maybe be able to break even. If not, we won't be too far in the hole, but yet we will not have the farm anymore, and unfortunately we will lose all the ground. So that is awful. You got to pay more attention to these things. Take note, don't do what we did, and yeah. So before we get this John Deere hooked up, we're going to go ahead and head to the home farm, grab our auger wagon and a truck or two, and bring them back over here. As we're pulling up back to the farm, we did stop in at the gas station with the few bucks we had and decided to buy, a Powerball ticket. We're never going to get lucky enough, but we would love to hope. Our winning numbers are going to be 28, 35, 41, 47, 60, and 3. So we'll have to listen to that later on the radio and see if we even came close or not, but I doubt it. We're sitting in the old MX 180, and we're going to go ahead and fire this thing up for what may be our last time. So we're going to go ahead and get a little listen to that. So we've got everything down at the soybean field, and now all that is left is to wait around and let those beans dry down a little bit, and then we'll get straight into cutting them. We've sat around about as long as we can now, so we're going to go ahead and attach the PTO, and then we'll be good to start cutting away at these beans. We're ready to cut now, so all that's left to do is to go ahead, lower this, fire it up, and we are rolling. we just finished up this field, and we did haul the auger wagon over here, even though it wasn't necessary. I sent some of the farm hands to go run and check some things before we start trying to get this equipment back to the dealership, because the bank is tanking it all. So we didn't use that, but we did use the trucks. We are going to go ahead and unload into this truck. All we have to do now is cross this road, put the bean header back on the trailer, and then go ahead and take this combine back to the dealership. The bean header is now on the trailer. We've got it disconnected, and we're going to go run these two implements down to the dealership, and then we will haul some grain and see if we can make just a little money to lighten that load. We got the header dropped off back here, the combine, and now we are just going to go ahead and haul some grain into the granary. So we have arrived at the granary, and this will be our last load ever from a semi, at least, even though we just recently got this semi. It's sad, I know, but we're still making good memories as it goes. So we just got done unloading this truck. We gained about 60 grand, so that's a little less that we have to worry about. After this, we will go up here and grab our other grain truck that we filled up, and then we will run both these trucks up to the farm and put them outside where they can come and pick them up the next time they seem fit. Like I said, we went and grabbed the Mack, and now all we have left to do is dump this truck, take it back to the farm, and then after that, I guess we'll say our farewells. We just got back to the farm, and real quick, before we go pick up our truck and say our final goodbyes, we are going to pull all the equipment out and get it where the bank or whoever comes and picks this up can have the easiest access to it. We now have all of the equipment ready to go and packed up. Everything is in good condition. Nothing left is broke other than the combine. They never fixed that. And then we went ahead and dropped the auger wagon and the MX-180 off while we were down there. So I'm going to go pick up the truck, and we're going to go ahead and say our final goodbyes to the farm. Well, we went ahead and said goodbye to the farm. I really don't know how I feel right now. This is an awful feeling. We've got a lot of paperwork to do over the next few days. And I don't know. I'm absolutely heartbroken, but I guess the Powerball comes on here in a second, so I guess we'll just go ahead and turn on the radio and see what happens. Well, we're almost back to the farm, so it's about to come on, so I guess let's see what the announcer has to say.
And the winning number is 28.
Okay.
35.
Okay.
41.
Oh my.
47.
It can't be.
60.
No.
3.
Oh. Oh my God.
To the winner, as you have just won $100
oh my God.
million.
We won $100 million. Oh my God. We're going to be able to keep the farm. Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, everybody, it's been quite some time since we've last talked or even seen each other. Basically, I'm going to cut straight to the point and fill you guys in on what has happened. Essentially, once we won the lottery, we decided to pay off all of our debts in Ohio, and then we looked into moving because we have always wanted to move and go to a new place and try out some new locations, and now we are here in Alma, Missouri. With that being said, we did purchase a lot of new equipment. As you can see, we got a brand new international semi with a low loader that we can get a lot of use out, whether that be hauling new equipment, old equipment, or even just moving equipment around. But with that being said, I had it with a heavy heart, and I couldn't get rid of my MX-180. Everybody knows that I love this thing and been running it for years, so we had to bring this along, but I think you guys are going to be very surprised to see what is next. So before we get into any of the equipment I purchased, I do want to do a quick little run through of the farm. So basically we have our cold storage over here. We have a couple of grain bins that can be set up with an auger. We've got another little setup. We've got the house here that we'll be living in that comes with a nice little garage. And then we even have the option to run some cows, since the guy that was here recently had cows and horses. So when he passed away, they got rid of them all, but they left the buildings. So maybe that's something we can look into, but if not, I guess we can replace them. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead, jump in the semi, and take it down and go take a look at all the equipment we purchased. So like I said, it was hard to leave Ohio behind, and we had a lot of good memories there until the end, of course, but it was just the right move for us to make, and I think we'll end up benefiting from making this move. So we're entering town. Basically what we had happen is, since we had such a large amount of money, yes, we did save a lot of it. We also used a lot of it to buy the land, and of course a big chunk of it went to the equipment. But basically what we did is we had a bunch of truckers haul all of our equipment here, and we bought them in various places, but I think you guys will be very surprised to see what we're running. So we've got the land all completely unhooked, and we're ready to start loading up some equipment, and without further ado, here's the big reveal. I know this is going to be very controversial, and a lot of people probably aren't going to like it, but yes, we are going to be running, other than the MX-180, all Fendt tractors. Basically, we had a guy that came down and sold us on the farm in Ohio once he heard we had won the money. He came by and he basically, he sold us on it, and he was very convincing. We test drove a couple of them out, and it just seemed like the right thing to do, and since we had the money, you know, why not? With that being said, though, I'm going to be very, very, very surprised to see if this ideal lives up to the hype. And then, of course, you know, we had to go with some stuff that we already knew worked, such as the Kinsey planter. We love those. Brent makes a great gravity wagon, and they also make great auger wagons, so we decided to pick up one of the auger wagons. We did purchase this off the guy who owned the shop in Ohio. It was a kind of a farewell for us, so we decided to buy one for him, and I hope we can use this on the MX-180, maybe do a little bit of ripping here and there. And then, of course, we need a big thing for tillage, and we decided to get this big Landau disc. So, yes, we're going to get some semis and stuff, but first off, it's not necessarily harvest season yet, so we're going to go ahead and start moving this equipment. So yeah, these tractors are very, very, very nice. I guess what we could do is probably, instead of loading them up one by one, we could drive the tractors back and be shuttled back here with the local transport company, or we could haul them, since we have the ability to do that too. So I think first off, we're going to go ahead and take this tractor with the Landau, and we're just going to drive it back to the farm. We now have the Landau hooked up to the Fendt 1038, and I will say this is an absolutely gorgeous setup. I really hope this works for us, because like I said, when we test drove them, they worked perfectly, and I think they'll work even better in the field. So we'll go ahead and get this on the road. So we've just arrived at the farm, and I will say this is not going to ever get old looking at pulling in this place. It has been well upkept, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start parking these things in the grass, and then slowly one by one we will arrange the shed how we want it, and we may even add on another shed. We'll just have to wait and see. So we've just got back, the company dropped us off, and we grabbed this Fendt 1038 Vario, and we're going to put it on this Kinsey, and we're just going to go ahead and hit the road with that too. I think we might take the combine and put it on the low loader, but I guess we'll see how it is. And then eventually too, we're going to throw this beautiful blackout version Fendt with the flotation tires. We're going to put that on the Brent auger wagon. So we're going to move around a little bit, and then of course we still have some stuff left to buy, and some things local caught our eye, so we might take a look at those, or we might just straight order them, and then we will proceed with our day. I will say, while we're looking at this, there is going to be a lot of a learning curve here, as there's a lot of bells and whistles that we haven't seen, especially when we were in Ohio, because that's just not equipment we ran. We were running all old equipment. So yeah, it's going to definitely take a lot of phone calls to figure these things out, but I think once we get the hang of it, it'll pay off running a very good tractor company. And now that we've got the planter and the other tractor dropped off, it's time to grab our last tractor here, hook it up to this beautiful auger wagon, and then we should be able to get the combine back by the end of the day. Before we head back to the farm, I will have to say this setup we have on this Brent 1196 grain cart hooked up to this Fendt, this is a clean setup, and the fact that it's blacked out and matches the combine, I think this is going to be one sight to see in the field. So we've got the Fendt Ideal now fully started up and ready to go. I think all we've got left to do is load it up on the semi so we can actually get the low loader and the semi back, and then eventually we'll come and get the heads. It's not a dire need right this second since we don't have any wheat ground, and we're just going to have corn and soybeans this first growing season. So yeah, and then after that we will need to purchase a couple of grain trucks and pick them up as well. Okay, so we got the Fendt all loaded up, and I will say this might be the widest load I've ever seen. I mean, look how much is sticking out even with the outriggers completely out. Originally, I would have taken the duals off, but since it's right down the road and it's not heavily populated, we're just going to go ahead and truck it on down to the farm. So we're on the road now, and as you can see, the tires pretty much take up my entire mirror in the semi. So we definitely got some sharp turns, and even this stop sign is going to be an entire challenge, so let's just hope that nobody gets in our way. So we're back on the farm now, and I will say that was actually pretty nerve-wracking. We met a few vehicles on the way, and we pretty much had to get all the way over because this is one wide load. So glad we didn't meet any equipment. So without further ado, we will go ahead, drop this down, and get the combine unloaded. So the big thing with this combine that we want to go ahead and test, that I didn't even remotely remember to look into, is to see if this thing will even fit in the shed, because if not, we might be going ahead and installing a shop really fast. Well, without a doubt, this thing fits, you know, as easy as it can, so really happy with that outcome. I totally brain farted on that and didn't even think to do the measurements on that, so I'm glad it works out because this is our tallest piece of equipment. And yeah, so now basically we just need to go grab a couple new trucks and look on the market for what we want. Before we start looking for some trucks and trailers to buy and hopefully purchase some things in a relatively short manner, we do need to go ahead and put this equipment up. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get these all in the barn. Well, everything is now put in the sheds accordingly, and I know what you're going to ask, why do we have so many tractors if we don't have that many of us? Well, with having a few family members that moved with us comes a couple of new hires. So essentially we hired a few new people, so obviously we're going to have a bigger fleet, and we may even look at expanding to 2 combines. So that about does it for just this part of putting stuff up. So we're going to go ahead, go back to the house, relax a little bit, and we are going to find us some trucks that will work for us on this farm. Well, everybody, it is bright and early. About a month has passed. It is now September. It's currently about 5:18 a.m. last time I checked, and we have made quite a few purchases for semis and grain trailers. So we're going to run down to where we got them delivered, and at bare minimum, just check them out and make sure they're everything we wanted. Well, we just got dropped off, and here is the big reveal. Yes, I know I'm going to get harped on for having these heads still sitting up here, but we have a header cart ordered, and then the corn head does fold. So we will have those back soon, but we special ordered the header carts and they just haven't come in yet. So starting us off, we did purchase 2 Volvos that are actually identical. We got them custom set up to be this color, which is kind of the colors representing our farm that we like, this white and then a greenish. So we purchased 2 of those, and then we came over here and got a Mac, and we matched the color on that as well. And then of course we have our 3 Wilson pace setter trailers with the automatic cover on the top, so we don't have to manually roll them. This is going to be a real nice addition if we know rain is coming and we want to try to squeeze a couple more acres in. And then another big reveal is we decided to buy this Ram service truck since we didn't have a good pickup truck. It was getting beat up, so we traded off our old pickup truck and now we have this. So without further ado, we will get these moved back, but until then, we will catch y'all in the next one. Well, a little while has passed and we've pretty much got everything set up as needed. So we did get a Quonset hut built for the semi-trucks, but now we're probably going to have to buy some things so we can put our headers out of the weather as well, because I don't want them sitting in there. But nonetheless, I think we're about ready to move on. So we went down with the Fendt, the Ideal, and we actually cut a few rows off just to test the moisture because our corn actually is ready, and it was running about 17%. So we're going to go ahead and get into harvest. So far we didn't do a whole lot. We just did a few rows here and there, basically just to open it up, but nonetheless it is actually cutting really good and I think we're really going to enjoy this thing. Alright, so we're out of the Ideal. Basically all we're going to do now is bring a couple grain trucks over here and get our auger wagon, because this is the only cornfield we have, and then we'll have quite a few beans to harvest after this. So we got our first Volvo truck over here, and it's pretty much ready to go. So we're going to go ahead, grab the other truck, and then grab our grain cart, and then I think we'll pretty much be ready to roll. We have everything pretty much we need to get started, so we're going to go ahead, jump up in the Ideal, and we're going to take off. Alright, so we're up in here, and I think we're pretty much ready now, so we're going to go ahead and fire everything up. Let's see if we can get this going. So yeah, now we got this going, and we're just going to slowly lead into it. So we're a little over half full, and yeah, this thing is trucking right on along. We are mowing down this corn. This combine is capable of pretty much knocking out more acres than anything, of course, we've ever owned before. With that being said, I'm excited to see how this actually lasts us all season. Hopefully it won't burn down. So our monitor's reading about 81% full, so we're actually going to have to unload soon, so we'll get somebody to bring the grain cart down here so that we can unload into it. But if you would have told me a few months back that we'd be in a Fendt Ideal with a 16-row head, I probably would have laughed in your face. So we're 100% full right now. We got about, I don't know, probably 78 80% around the field pretty much, but nonetheless we gave a ring to the grain cart driver and he's about to pull up. The grain cart driver is finally here, so we're just going to pull this auger up, swing it over, and let it unload. Alright, now that we're unloaded, we can go ahead, fold our auger in, and then we will just jump right back into this field. So we're once at 100% again, and we're once again just going to hang this over the side and let it unload. And then when we finish this little patch right behind us, we're going to go ahead and start letting the grain cart slowly follow us as we harvest. So I actually haven't had the chance to drive this tractor yet. Typically what we're actually going to do is we're going to let the guy that was in the grain cart run the combine and finish up that. He's about to take off, and then we will swap back once I get back. But I kind of just want to see how this thing drives and how it unloads. Alright, so we're pulling up to our first truck, and we're just going to try to hang this over as close as we can get it without spilling any corn. Fingers crossed. Alright, so we've got it unloading, and I will meet you guys back when it is finished. Alright, so we're finally done with that. We'll go ahead, fold the spout in, and by the time we get back over here, he should be done with that little spot. So a little time has passed, and we're actually back up in the combine. The auger wagon driver loved his auger wagon job too much, so we let him back at it. So we're just going to keep chipping away at this until we need a break or until it gets dark. So after we get this field finished, we'll probably have to wait a few days, and we might start on some tillage on this, or we might just no-till it. Nonetheless, we have a bean field that is starting to turn, so hopefully we can be in that sooner than later. So since we've last talked, we've actually got quite a bit done, but everybody is now on break. I went down and grabbed the auger wagon, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to unload the rest of this first truck, and once we fill this up, all we're going to do is take it to the granary to check that everything is scoring good and everything is alright. Alright, now that we have the Fendt combine parked and our auger wagon parked and turned off, we're going to go ahead and run this truck to the granary. I will say, having the automatic tarp is such an upgrade to what we had while we were in Ohio, because all we have to do is press a button in here and it just rolls up. So I forgot to mention to you guys, the combine does run a set of duals on it right now. We did not order it with that. So basically what happened is we had a custom tracks we're going to get put on it, and they didn't come in, but I actually just got a call when we pulled out of the field that they have it ready. So when we finish this corn harvest, we're going to go ahead and load it up on the Landau, and we are going to run it up to the dealership so we can get tracks on our Fendt Ideal combine. And checking our bean field out, those are a lot more ready than what I remember them being. So once we get done with our corn and get the tracks on, we'll be able to hop over in this bean field and harvest our soybeans. So we're pulling into town. Basically all we have to do is get a grain, sample moisture, make sure everything's reading to what we want it from, and then we are actually going to go ahead and unload this first load into the granary. From what I could tell, the grain looked to be clean. There wasn't a whole lot of cracking or mold or anything on it, so I don't think we'll get docked too much. But nonetheless, if this all goes through just fine, we're actually going to go ahead and start putting it in the bins we have at the farm. So yeah, that actually read perfect. We didn't get docked hardly at all, so we're pretty much got the green light to go ahead and store these at the facility at home. So nonetheless, we're going to head back. We're going to try to finish up this field and then hopefully get the combine down to the dealership. We're back in the field, and I'm super happy that actually went according, because that would have been an entire headache if not. So I think we're going to go ahead, hop back up in the Fendt, and then get back rolling in the field. So when we got back up here, it looks like the monitor's throwing a bunch of error codes. Yeah, it's throwing quite a few error codes, so I think we're gonna have to call Fendt and get them out here to take a look at. Well, finally, the Fendt guy has arrived. He is gonna be up in the cab here in a minute and diagnosing all our problems. He did say they have been having the same problem that I have been having, which is not good, of course, and that it's probably going to take 4 or 5 hours, so that's super unfortunate. We'll probably be down the rest of the day unless we want to run in the night. And with that being said, I guess we can go pull the tillage tool out and start disking a little bit, or at least look over it and prep for disking. Alright, so we drove the truck over here, and now we've got our Landau and our other Fendt tractor, and we're going to head back to the field and just see that everything goes as smoothly as possible because we have yet to use this. Alright, so we hopped out of this thing for a minute, and I think we just have to take a look at this because this thing is absolutely massive. The Landau 7431 is a complete beast. Everything we read about it in the catalog seems to hold true, and honestly, I can't wait to use this thing. With that being said, we're going to go ahead, jump up in the tractor, and get a little discing done. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that thing absolutely rips. This Landau might be the best thing we've ever purchased. I mean, the speed we can get this at and how fast we can get this done, this is incredible. With that being said, I've got a couple of bills to go pay, so I think we are gonna go ahead and run up to the office and pay a few bills. So I'm not going to take up too much time, but I just wanted to let everybody know, thank you guys for watching this video. It's just a compilation of the Ohio series smashed into one. But with that being said, this series has thus ended, and we are moving on. There's a lot more to come, but we don't want to drag things out.